Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Rocky and Creed ranking video featuring Creed 3. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel, joined by my other two hosts.
But Berman's dead.
Oh, yeah, I'm so used to saying that. All right, I'm here with one of my co hosts.
Berman.
All right, Chris is cosplaying as Berman today. No, okay, so real talk. Berman's been busy. He hasn't had time to see the film. He told me just do it without me. But yeah, that's why he's not here today. But he will be here when we rank John Wick. So don't worry about that. So, what do you think about the Rocky and Creed series as a whole? I love it.
I don't see any complaints with any of them. They're all solid, except for Rocky 5. That sucks ass. But every single
Well,
movie is like at least an 8 or above, or a 7. But
that's a spoiler and a half, but without further ado,
that's not a
let's
spoiler,
dive
man.
into it.
It's not a spoiler, man.
Number 9, Rocky 5. That's the spoiler.
Oh,
So, yeah, Chris said it best. It's the only film that sucks in the Rocky series. I don't know why I gave it a 4. I think it's actually a 3. It's not the worst movie ever, and it does have heart involved in it. But this is literally the only film that doesn't even end with a fight. Like, that's how bogus this movie is.
that's not true. They fought in the street.
And you know what part? I mean, I hate a lot of things about this film, though. I really hated how they made Rocky kind of seem like a dick to his son. That was stupid. And
Listen, you gotta build character, man. You gotta bully your shoulders sometimes. That's how you make them stronger.
and this is the thing. Following Rocky 4, right? Creed
Hmm.
died in Rocky 4. The motherfucker gave Creed shorts to this stupid Tommy kid. That I wanted to literally put Rocky in a stranglehold when I saw that shit.
Oh,
Like, it is so baffling and stupid how that happened. So, yeah, this movie's dumb. And yeah, the fact that they lost all their money thanks to Paulie being an idiot, that's a great cherry on top. So yeah, Rocky 5, 3 out of 10. What's your number 9, Chris?
Rocky 5.
All right.
It's so
Well,
bad.
do you have any additional comments, or do you just want to give it a rating and
I
move on?
I will say like it's I don't think it's a 3 rating, but I think it's very average. It's stupid, but it's a 5. It's not the worst thing. I mean, plot wise, it's terrible, but it's okay. It was kind of funny.
It's terrible, but it's okay.
It was not the worst film I've seen, man. It's just very, it's unnecessary. It was just dumb. It was just there for a cash grab, to be quite honest.
And this was actually at the time supposed to be the end of the Rocky series, and it was for 16 years. That's the crazy thing.
Oh, Rocky 5. He loses all of his money, bankrupts, has to fight a bum on the street with a pimp. Oh, hell
Pretty
yeah.
much.
Fucking Paulie, god damn it.
Now, Jesus, Paulie. Speaking of Paulie, I'll have a thing to say about him in this next movie.
Happy birthday.
Now, now this is where our lists kind of start to become different because this is what I'll say. I even like the next movie I'm going to talk about, number 8. Now, I'm talking about the director's cut instead of the theater edition that came out.
That's
I know the
cheating.
theater
You
edition is
can't
way
do that.
more goofy
That's
and way
cheating.
more campy. And basically, the theater version basically has Rocky's speech. From what I know, it's like way longer than it is in the director's cut. So that's pretty funny. And you also have a lot more of the goofy, campy scenes in the theater version compared to the director's cut. And there's even the 35-year edition that came out recently, where Sylvester Stallone changed up a lot of the scenes in the film. So there's basically multiple different versions of this film, but they all kind of tell the same story of Apollo feeling like he needs to prove something to himself in his mid 40s, and you know, he's seeing time basically pass by him. And there's a new, young, hungry blood out there. And he doesn't want to hang it up yet. He doesn't want to be like Rocky, who is basically fine living the life he has with all his money and basically settling. He doesn't want to settle because he believes the day he settles is basically the day he's dead. So he would have preferred to die fighting, die as a warrior, which is why he died in the ring. And I'm going to be honest, to this day, I'm still very conflicted about that decision of killing off Apollo Creed. I'm very conflicted. Part of me understands why it happened, and part of me gets it. But then there's another part of me that kind of just doesn't. Because you basically kind of did a similar story in a way, not the exact same story, but a similar story in a way to Rocky 3, if you think about it, because in Rocky 3, there were two fights, just like there were in Rocky 4. And in the first fight, something traumatic happens to Rocky. What happened traumatic to Rocky in Rocky 3? He lost to Mr. T, and his trainer Mickey died. What happened in Rocky 4? His friend Apollo died in the ring. But again, it's both basically Rocky learning how to recover and deal with the death of a close one. And while it's still done very well here, I just feel like it's kind of a repeat of Rocky 3 in some senses. And that's kind of what I just don't like about the film overall. But I respect what this movie is. I respect what this movie tried to go for. And I like how they have Ivan Drago be kind of more of a robotic villain. And usually I hate that. But for this, it actually really worked, as you were able to just really hate Ivan Drago, showing zero sympathy for killing Creed. And to be honest, this movie is pretty meme worthy from like the robot and all other sort of stuff. So there is definitely fun to be had in this film. It is a good film, but it's just not one of my personal favorites. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. What is your number 8, Chris?
It's gonna be Rocky 3. It's not the fact that it's bad or anything like that. It's just like it's fun, dumb drama. It's like your classic 80s thing where you have like Mr. T fighting against Rocky, and then you have the random appearance of Hulk Hogan, or I'm sorry, Thunder Lips he calls himself. It's just stupid. Like, you've seen this before in the previous films, but I think it's done. I think it's just like a fun little film. Like, if you don't take it anything too seriously, it's great. It's just something you just eat popcorn to, just kind of chill your house. Like, it's fine. It's not one of my favorites, but it's not a bad film. It's pretty good though.
Yeah, number 7, Rocky 3. Ironically, we both have Rocky 3 ranked kind of lower, but you want to know what's funny about this, Chris?
What's up, man?
Rocky 3 is like a legit fan favorite.
No, I know it is.
That's that's the funny part about us ranking this so low.
It it's a fan favorite, but there's better
But it's
movies
just
than
not
Rocky
our.
3.
It's just not our favorite.
This is man. It's just because of nostalgia. It's just because Mr. T's in it. That's why.
I love the wrestling vibe as well from Thunderlips and Mr. T, like bringing those guys in. That was fun. I call Hulk Hogan Thunderlips, but you get my point.
Yeah.
I think that Rocky 3 has a lot of heart in it, especially with Mickey. I love the friendship with Rocky and Apollo. And honestly, Carl Weathers as Apollo, I think is the main reason I like this film a lot. I think he carries this film to being something special for a lot of people, especially that scene where Rocky is just tired. He keeps saying, "Let's do this tomorrow." And then you have Apollo screaming at him, "There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow." Because, it basically goes with the whole stigma of how, oh, I'm going to start eating better tomorrow. I'm going to start doing better as a human being tomorrow. Why wait till tomorrow? Tomorrow is never guaranteed. So Apollo saying there is no tomorrow, I love that. I love that part of the film. And every part involving Apollo is just really good for my personal sake. Because I really do like Apollo, and he probably is my favorite character in the Rocky Creed franchise. So that's really all I could say about it. I understand why it is a fan favorite. It definitely has a lot of heart put into it. And then, it's, like I said, when it came to Adrian's character arc. It definitely completes that in some aspects, as well as Rocky's and Creed's. Like if this was the ending of a trilogy, it would be fine. It would work. That's the best I could say about this film. It's good, but if me and Chris are being honest here, there are better films in this franchise. That's just what it is. So now let's move on to Chris's number 7.
Honestly, for my pick for number 7, it's gonna be Creed 2 just for the fact that this is basically the same damn movie as Rocky 4. I mean, it's essentially just about Adonis just trying to get revenge because he loses. No, it's Dragunov's kid, right? In Creed 2, where he's trying to get
Yeah,
revenge for
yeah,
Rocky or whatever. And it's just kind
yeah.
of the
No,
same
so
setup where Adonis ends up like getting his ass kicked in like the first 10 minutes and he's like, "Okay, I got to redeem myself." But it's cool. It adds a bit of the lore of you wouldn't normally see of why all these years, and it's a good final conclusion of Rocky Balboa too, because you have those little interactions between him and Dragunov essentially at the bar, so it's pretty cool. It's a good like lore movie ish. Is it the greatest thing ever? No, but essentially it's a fun little Creed thing. It's not that important, but it's cool. Again, it's just nostalgia for like older fans, but I liked it.
what would you rate it?
I'll give it an 8.
8.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6. Same movie as him. Creed 2 at number 8. I mean, no, at number 6. But I did give it an 8 out of 10. So, yeah, I think it's the weakest of the Creed trilogy, but it's still a great film. It has a lot of emotion into it. Michael B. Jordan does some amazing acting throughout the film. But I feel like the only issues I have is I do find myself getting more annoyed with Adonis in this film than I do in the other films. I don't know exactly why that is, but that is just me. But I do think Michael B. Jordan still does an excellent job, even with the character kind of annoying me here and there. And then everyone else plays their part incredibly well. Tessa Thompson, Sylvester Stallone, they all do their thing. And I really like the story of, Ivan Drago kind of learning that life is more than boxing, I guess you could say. So, yeah, it's a great film, though. And it does do a really good job of concluding Rocky's story. And if you were able to basically just watch a sequel or think of what a Creed sequel should be, I think this works. And we all knew that Adonis wanting to redeem his father's name, that was going to be a story that was going to be told eventually. It was inevitable. And I thought it was still done very well. And if you ask me, I thought Adonis trying to redeem Apollo was done better than Rocky trying to redeem Apollo. But we'll have that conversation for later on. Now let's get into Chris's number 6.
And then for my number 6, it's gonna be sound kind of wild, but it's gonna be the newest Creed movie. Like, I know people really enjoyed Creed 3, and I liked it too. And it was a cool origin story of, of Adonis, of how he kind of goes about why he got into the boxing thing to begin with, and, why he started. And it's a good introduction to him and his friend. And it's probably one of the darkest of the Rocky series because it's more grim and kind of more realistic than compared to the classics. Not that they're bad or anything, but I kind of like the tone of how the movie was filmed. But I think the main complaint that I've had, it it seems kind of like generic now thinking about it. Because I mean, how many movies have you seen this? Like, oh, my friend, the two of us, we were hood kids, we made it out. One person took the right path and made it, and while the other one's just like, I took the dark path, so I can't forgive you for this. But it's not bad or necessarily. It wasn't bad, but again, it was a very generic story. I really enjoyed the boxing, and then it was very cool how they kind of shot like the end fight of how it was more of like a cage match, and it was mostly between these two competitors. I mean, Adonis and his friend, and plus you got just overall his friend being kind of like an evil jerk and almost like killing somebody and cheating. Like it's cool, it's decent. Is it one of my favorites? It is, but it's not up there with the other films because many of the other Rocky films do it a lot better and tell better stories. So for what it is, I'll give it 8.5. Very good.
All right. Now, number 5, Rocky Balboa. Now, this is maybe one of the most emotional movies in the franchise. And we have a near 60-year-old Rocky, basically, not only trying to prove to himself that he can do it once again, but it just goes a lot farther than that. This is a great film, very inspirational, I guess you could call it. I mean, all these films aim to be inspirational and kind of are in some aspects. But when I think of the word inspirational, I think the first Rocky, and the first Creed probably fit that description more than any other films in this franchise. So, yeah, that's what I gotta say. And I also really like the stuff between Rocky and Rocky Jr. throughout the film. It's really tragic what happened to Sylvester's son in real life. And that's kind of why you don't really see, you know, Rocky Jr. in the new movies, because Rocky Jr. in real life is sadly passed away. So that's all I could really say on that. I think Rocky Balboa is a great film, and it earned being in the number 5 spot. I give it an 8 out of 10.
Same here. It's also my pick from the number 5. It's classic. It's not necessarily about the boxing. It's more of him just trying to bond with his son because of like his son felt neglected and kind of blamed Rocky for all of his problems of Adrian dying and all the unfortunate events that happened in 5. It's good, very emotional. It's probably one of the saddest ones out of the whole trilogy, but it's really enjoyable and I liked it. So I'm gonna give it 8.
You mean 8.5 since number 6 got 8.5?
Okay, fine, 8.5. But he needed more boxing. And just real
Yeah,
quick, just a nitpick. I thought it was kind of stupid how he wanted to get into boxing because he saw that stupid that UFC thing like randomly at a bar. It's like, oh yeah, my AI bot totally can kick the guy's ass. I need to get back into boxing because of a video game. But whatever.
all right, man. Number 4, Creed 3, the newest film in the franchise. I personally loved this movie. While Apollo Creed may be my favorite character in the franchise, that doesn't necessarily mean I think he was the best villain of this franchise. I think Jonathan Majors is having a killer year in 2023, and this movie kind of cemented that this year is his year. The performance he puts on in this film basically is the highlight of this entire film. The boxing was great. Everything else was great. Of course it was. But Jonathan Majors really shined as a villain. In my opinion, he outperformed Ivan Drago. He outperformed Mr. T.
Stop
He
the cap.
outperformed
Stop the cap.
everybody. He literally is the best villain we've ever gotten in this franchise. I can confidently say that.
You can leave the
And
podcast.
no, man, I mean that's serious. You gotta give Jonathan Majors that
No,
credit.
he's
Where
a good villain, but he's not better than Dragunov.
backing off, you didn't even say the right name there.
It's because I'm American. I only pronounce Russian propaganda. Putin's a
I
bad
see,
person.
but you mean Ivan Drago.
Yeah.
So I guess that's that. You like Ivan Drago. My favorite villain is Jonathan Majors, aka Diamond Dame Anderson. Sick ass name. Nah, but anyways,
He's
man.
also King the Conqueror.
Yeah, we got Killmonger versus King the Conqueror through this film, people. Pretty hype. Yeah, I love this film. At first, I was going to give it a 9, but then I thought about it more and more. I can't quite give it a 9, but I'll give it 8.5. I really do adore this film, and I definitely see myself going back to it. From a personal enjoyment standpoint, it may not be, one of the more inspirational or emotional films out of the bunch, but I really do dig the directing of this film, as unrealistic as it may be in some points, especially the void aspect of it. But I don't know. I really like that stuff personally. I thought it was really cool. Again, not realistic, but again, you're going to a movie. This isn't real, anyways. I mean, yes, I understand. It's cool. It's cool. It's more cool to have accurate portrays. Like the first Creed was probably the most accurate portrayal we've gotten so far in terms of the fighting choreography. But still, I think that the fights in this film were really fun. And sure, it's a bit of a cliche dynamic, I guess you could say, of like the two friends going to the jail and such. But I feel like these two are so good at what they do that they kind of just made this work for me. So yeah, number 4, 8.5 out of 10. That's my opinion. What is your number 4?
Rocky Four, Borinov. And sir, his name is Captain Ivan Drago. It's not just Drago. But real talk, dude. Rocky Four is probably the most fun out of the franchise because there's so minimal quotes, and I'm gonna be that guy. Apollo need to die for those goddamn shorts. That was the most cheesiest shit I've ever heard in my life. And Drago just being a boss, like if he dies, he dies. Like, come on, man. This is peak '80s like movie making, dude.
Welcome to America.
It's so good. Besides, the Apollo was a cheater, anyways. He was a cheater
Why did he cheat?
when he beat Rocky.
Bullshit.
But point being, Rocky Four, it's so good, dude. It's so goated. Like that movie's just fun to watch. You have the montages, you have the stupid robot, you have the cheesy ass speeches. Like, dude, it's Rocky perfected. So I'm gonna give it a 9, dude. It's great.
All right. I don't know if you're being serious about that
I'll
9.
be
But...
dead serious, dude. That movie's actually goated. Drago is literally the best villain in the film franchise of any franchise of all time.
Any franchise of all
It's
time.
such a classic, dude. Like his best friend dies, and then like you have the Russians versus the Americans. Like, come on, dude. That's like 80 G.
No, it's very 80s cheese. It's the most 80s you could possibly get ever.
And then you have a random ass robot. Like, come on, man. And you got the montage in the mountains and shit. It's so good.
I mean, him screaming Drago off the top of the mountains was kind of cute.
That was awesome, dude.
And now I understand. Now I'm just gonna say this, main.
Well,
Before we did these ranking videos, Rocky 4 was like one of the few movies I haven't seen yet.
how can you say
And
that?
then I finally did. I think it was like a month or so ago. And then I realized, like, this is a very campy and cheesy film. But I appreciate that.
Man, if Rocky 1 didn't exist, this shit would be number 1.
Well, what would number 2 and 3 be then?
We gotta wait for me.
Okay. Now, number 3, Rocky 2. Now, I know a lot of people disagree with Rocky doing sequels because the first one was the best and it was perfect. And I can understand that. Like, you didn't really need to do another story. I mean, you didn't really need to do another story with Rocky winning. You didn't really need to have a movie with Rocky winning. You didn't really need to do this. But at the same time, they were able to make the story work enough involving Apollo being bitter about the fact that there was someone who was able to be on his level. And not just that, but people also telling him that he actually lost and shouldn't have won that fight. And, it really got to him. And that was a really cool element as well. On top of Rocky, still trying to find that bit of hunger inside of him instead of just getting comfortable in his situation. And, because he got a very good payday after the first movie. And he could easily just chill, work a normal job after that and be perfectly fine. But no, there's still something in him that wants to keep chasing for more. And that more is being the best, being capable of being the best, being a champion. So they were able to still take a movie that didn't necessarily need to happen and make it work because both competitors had a lot of motivation heading in. And that made for this movie to be one of my favorite Rocky movies. Because here's the thing that I will say, though. It wasn't perfect. Now, the only major issue I could kind of say about this whole film, okay, well, two major issues I could say about this whole film is I feel like at times they kind of tried to make Creed a villain more and more in this one, whereas in the first one, it was very clear that, Apollo was just a respected fighter. He wasn't really a villain. But in this movie, I feel like they tried to make the audience, root for Rocky more and it just doesn't feel as natural as it did in the first film when we all were entirely rooting for Rocky. But you still end up rooting for Rocky anyways because there's just enough story there involving Rocky. But still, I feel like the movie didn't need to do that involving the Apollo Creed. And then another thing I guess I can call out is that I feel like Adrian's change of heart in the hospital doesn't feel the most warranted. Like, it doesn't really feel like there's a simple split second that showcases why she could possibly have that change of heart. And it's not even really explained why she even does have that change of heart. I mean, should she have that change of heart? Yes. Did it still make for a great moment? Yes. But I feel like there could have been more explanation on that overall. And even though the fight wasn't as good in the first film, it was still a great fight between Creed and Balboa. And the show of respect in the end, we all love it, man. We all love it. And the ending being kind of the same, except Adrian being at home taking care of the kid. I really like the dynamic there. So yeah, this is an amazing film. It may not capture the exact same glory of the first film, but it didn't need to. All this needed to do was follow up, and it did. If you wanted to watch Rocky 2 right after Rocky 1, you could easily do that because these two are basically shot the same. They kind of feel the same in tone, and if you watch them both, you could easily make it a 3-hour special of Rocky 1 and 2 right there, and it'll feel like a complete movie. So yeah, it earned my number 3 spot, 9 out of 10.
And then for my number 3, it's gonna be the Creed, the first Creed movie, just for the fact that Adonis, there we go, is kind of like he grows up rich necessarily. He kind of has everything he could possibly want, but there's always that the blood in his system where he's like, my father was a legend. Boxing is the only thing I truly care about in life, and it's just kind of cool because it's like a stepping into a new generation of the Rocky films that were really introduced as like Don is trying to get a start, and then Rocky getting his redemption because at this point he really has nothing. He's pretty much lost his kid after the fifth movie, and it's just like, it's a good stepping stone for both of these characters, and you kind of see how they grow slowly and they become friends. Because at first Rocky was hesitant to train Adonis because he's like, I'm tired of this boxing shit. Just let me alone. Let me be your hermit. But Adonis is like upcoming. He's hungry. He wants to do what he's born for doing, and it's an excellent movie from start to finish. It's a great standoff for the Rocky franchise and also too for Adonis to start his own career. Excellent. I'm gonna give it a 10.
Damn, a 10. All right.
Same, man.
No, that's how good this franchise is, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're about to have 3 10 out of 10s.
Yes, sir.
So, for my number 2, it's going to be Creed 1. Now, Chris made a lot of points. It is fucking excellent. And I just love the movie so much for the fact that, you have Rocky, and he's lost basically almost someone new in every single film, it feels like. Rocky 3, it was Mickey. Rocky 4, it was Apollo. Rocky 5, he was spared. Balboa, it was his wife. And now in Creed 1, it is Paulie. So he has a bunch of graves to visit. And in this film, you could see there are multiple moments where he's training Apollo and he just hates it because he would rather be with his wife or be with his good friend Apollo or be with his trainer Mickey. There's that part of him that even though has moved on, there's still that part of him that is starting to become bitter about everything that has happened to him in life. And I've had that same feeling before. There are multiple times where I'm at a certain place and hanging out with certain people, or maybe not even hanging out with certain people, but just maybe being in a certain area with my headspace and everything. And I don't know. I think about I hate what I'm doing in this moment because I wish I could have what I have back then. And unfortunately, it doesn't allow me to appreciate what is here now. So telling that message with Rocky, learning how to accept what's now while accepting what has happened and being able to move forward is a beautiful story. And it's honestly perfection for Rocky's narrative. And, Adonis and his whole story is just nearly perfect too. And you got the story between him and Bianca, and it works very well just like Rocky and Adrian did, and you needed it to work well because if you didn't, the whole franchise would have been really fucked. So, yeah, I think it's outstanding. Overall, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. The theme, the Creed theme, goes just as hard as the Rocky theme. I gotta be honest. The Rocky theme is more iconic, but if you're thinking about what's more epic, it's probably the Creed theme.
It's so good, man.
But yeah, now what is your number two?
It's gonna be Rocky 2. Again, you made all the great points in the last list you made, or the one we're currently doing, I should say. It's just an excellent sequel. It's cool seeing Rocky redeem himself because of the last of him losing in the original movie, and I kind of just prefer it slightly over Creed just for like the nostalgic sake. But that's pretty much it. It's slightly better just for that reason. But you know, it's still a good movie, and I'm gonna give it a 10. Oh no, actually nah, 9.5, because it's not perfect. Because like you mentioned, they kind of make Apollo into like a villain for like no particular reason, and I get it. You can't have face versus face, even though it's a fucking boxing film. But whatever.
I mean, like they got away with that in the first film, so I don't get why they couldn't just get away with it again in the second. You know?
Because drama sells, man, and they need an excuse to run it back.
I mean, it's not like they went full fledged villain with Apollo, but you got those vibes, right?
Yeah. Like I thought they respected each other in the first film. Where it was all good. He's gonna get his rematch. Like you don't need to make him more evil for like no
Yeah,
damn
like
reason.
when you have him like in the beginning of the second film barking up a bunch backstage, it's like that is not what he was like in the first film. So
Hey, but it is what it is, man.
yeah. And number one, this is both our number one.
It's
The
Rocky.
original Rocky.
Rocky 6.
Rocky 6. Yeah, no, it's the original Rocky. From 1976. So there's that. Um I could praise the fuck out of this movie and say a bunch of things,
It's been
but
done.
it's been done. Yeah. This is probably one of the best movies of all time. Not just, and there's a reason why so many people watch these films to get something out of life or get themselves motivated again. Because honestly, it's worked for me. Watching the first Rocky and the first Creed again, whenever I felt really down on life and stuff, really was able to get me back into like the right headspace when I needed it to. And it's funny, a lot of athletes, a lot of wrestlers, a lot of people are even asking in interviews, what do you use for motivation? I watched the Rocky and Creed films. That right there is the main reason why this franchise is almost 50 years old and it's still one of the biggest franchises of all time. So, yeah, obviously it's a 10 out of 10. No shit, Sherlock. But, yeah. Do you want to make any points about this film?
Um, the film's old.
Very old.
It's very old. No, but for it's perfect, dude. It's not even cheesy. It's just classic. It's just one of those movies. It's gonna be watched even until like 30 to 40 years from now. It's goaded. It's too
Yeah, it
good.
survived 50 years. It'll survive another 50 more.
It's too good, man. It's such an appealing story too because it's so inspirational. It shouldn't even be this good if we're being like looking at it now. It's just a boxing movie, but for something like just so simple, it just hits it every mark. It's just so goddamn, it's so genius.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy about this boxing movie?
Yeah.
How it dives into like, you know, um domestic not domestic, but just like abuse situations with the family. Like it dived into that a little bit with Paulie and Adrian. And then it wasn't even just about the boxing for Rocky, but like how, how he saw himself as a, no good bum who couldn't really get far in life at all. And, there was all these doubts in his head and all these things going on throughout the movie. But he kept getting up at 4 in the morning all the time, had those, eggs in the cup, went on that run, did it every single day
I,
and
I
push himself beyond his limit every single day.
I do have one critique though.
What would that be?
He's a little creepy towards Adrian. That was really weird. I don't know. That just felt like really creepy. And bro was like, "Hey, lady, we're going on a date. You go on a date with me right now before I beat the shit
I
out of
will
you."
say, I will say, if she if she said no, that really would have backfired on him big time.
Yeah, just like so. I learned something, man. To get women, you just gotta keep asking them and just be super aggressive until they say yes.
No, I will say, yeah, Rocky was aggressive. Rocky was aggressive about getting what he
He was
wanted here.
aggressive as shit. Like, listen here, bitch, you're going out with me,
Hey,
whether you like it or not.
I ain't feeling comfortable either. I adore it though. I adore it. And then if you pay attention to some of the dialogue that like Adrian says about herself, it's so depressing.
But that's why it's so good. That's why it's
Like,
so good.
but yeah, no, like this movie's perfect. Like, and the fact that, like I said, I was able to dive into such topics that even 50 years later, a lot of people still go through is
Hey,
is really brilliant.
hey man, Rocky beat the shit out of Paulie. That was pretty lit. Hey, you're not gonna beat
You
up my
know
girlfriend.
what?
That's my job.
And there, even this part to this day, still gets me to cringe every time.
Oh no.
You know when Rocky can't see, and he needs to basically his eye needs to be cut in order for him to be able to see again.
Yeah,
Oh, god damn it, man.
brutal.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. The perfect movie. 10 out of 10.
He's just like he's so good, man.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts in this series?
I wouldn't be surprised if they make Creed 4 with his daughter because they kind of set that up, but hopefully they do it justice. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing a woman as the main of the next one. That'd be really cool. And I know
Here,
people are gonna be like, but women can't box. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, you stink head. And besides, dude, they
I,
can't go wrong.
I think there's only one issue if they did that.
Well,
They're gonna have to do like a 10-year plus time jump, and I don't think we're gonna be able to buy it unless if they age up Michael B. Jordan with like effects and stuff.
no, I know. I mean, that's not gonna happen down the road, but I mean, his daughter obviously has interest in the third movie, so I wouldn't
That's
mind
like a
it.
that's like a Creed 5 or 6 type of thing right there.
Apollo Creed
If it goes
begins.
that far, because I feel like this will go that far.
And watch it be like, damn, what happened to all the money? It's like, well, this YouTuber named Logan Paul told me to buy the zoo token. I lost all my money.
They better not repeat that plot point for Creed. They better not. I hated that they did that for Rocky. They better not do that bull crap for Creed.
I was like, Dad, what the fuck happened to all the money? I bought NFT monkeys.
Jesus. Just the ghost of Carl Weathers pops up. Hey son, I used all our money on the NFTs in the afterlife.
I thought it would be a good investment, man. Logan Paul never lies.
Logan Paul never lies. Oh god. I'm pretty sure we all learned he does.
Nah.
Well, I think we're gonna end the video off here. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been Daniel.
Chris.
And we'll see you all in the next one. Take it easy.